And what are we talking about today, ladies and gentlemen? The word that just keeps on reinventing, keeps on evolving, keeps on changing. The word woke. Woke. Like, I don't know. I'm like, where do we start? Do you have like something you want to get to right away? That's the just
No, that's it. No. It's okay. No, I guess for from the start it was made more positive. I guess in a more positive light, like mainly pertaining to anybody knowledgeable of what's really going on. So you in the black community we would say stay woke, right? We would say
right.
stay woke, stay alert, stay knowledgeable, you know what I mean, on point,
Yeah.
all that stuff, and then it just transformed into like this negative
Something
thing
totally different.
right after I want to say for me like BLM and during COVID and after um the 2-year COVID situation. So and for me I stand uh against it, so I am not cool with anybody being woke. um
Wait, oh my gosh, hold on. No, I gotta stop you right now.
uh-oh
Like, how could you be against people wanting to be aware and
because
wanting to
now,
have and having knowledge?
well,
I
now it's
mean,
different, right? It's not that anymore, right? It's
no, but it
more,
is. But it is. That's what it was. That's what it
that's what
started.
it was,
That's
but now it's
no,
not that
no,
term anymore.
but that's what the origin of the word is, what a lot of communities still hold on to as true, as their truth. But there's other communities out here who just
Mm.
took the word and it means something completely different. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, like, that's the problem, like, with America at this point for me is,
We're so divided.
and actually, like, where you come in on the conversation of anything, not just being the woke word, like, it'll have a whole different meaning. Like, people are missing chunks of information out of the total story. Because what I found, which I didn't know, which is very interesting, which makes more sense to me now, because like I was like, how the heck are the Republicans gonna take a word that was coined in like the Black community, that's where it came from, to be aware, to have knowledge, to like stay aware to social injustice and, just what's going on in the world. And I thought the Republicans, like the far right or the alt right, whatever you want to call them, the extreme right, stole that or just took it and then just repurposed the word. But like you said just now, that the left, I guess, the during the Black, what is it, the Black Lives Matter movement, the left took that word and it's now, and that's where the Republicans saw that word. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's when it was put on their radar. It wasn't necessarily from the hip hop origin, or when Erica Badu made it popular with her song Master Teacher Stay Woke. Like, we can get into that stuff too, but it's just the Republicans took it from the progressive far left, or the extreme left. Because I guess a lot of, I guess, liberals, leftists, whatever you want to call it, were wearing like woke shirts during the Black Lives Matter protest, and like they basically, like, they kind of took the word from and kind of started giving it a different meaning. You know what I mean?
Well, wherever you fall into your, not you, but in general, wherever people fall into how they want to generalize it, define it, or whatever. For me, it definitely is a negative thing. More pertaining to like entertainment and just living my life or people around me. Period. Because there's a quote that's called "Stay woke, go broke," and for me, it's it I think the masses, especially with Twitter, have really messed up the entertainment situation, especially like with Disney and stuff, and the firing of Gina Carano, the guilty till proven guilty with Johnny Depp, and now this thing with Jonathan Majors. It all stems from uh cancel culture and companies listening to Twitter and things. And I've seen people on podcasts that I watch, and they'll lose sponsorships because three people will say, "Oh, this guy talked about something about the Holocaust," or he said something about Kanye, or he said something positive about Kanye, and he said something about Nick Fuentes, or he said something about white supremacy, or he said something about George Floyd. Why are you still advertising? And then that person who probably said something, who maybe said something like Kanye should have free speech or whatever, or Elon Musk should keep, should buy Twitter at the time, or whatever. A company like Manscaped will be like, well, I'm not, we're not going to sponsor, your podcast anymore, and we're going to take funds out of your pocket. And I think that's whack.
Well,
For
because
me, the
okay,
word woke is just more sensitive. Dealing with sensitive people, dealing with a lot of people who think they can control everything because all I have to do is like get on Twitter and say a bad thing about a celebrity and such, or a company, and then the company will bend the knee because they think or they feel like they'll lose money, which they might, but it's to them like 1,000 or something. But a lot of companies are greedy, and especially again, like with me, it's a sour patch with me with the fire with Gina Carano, because she really didn't say anything, and now a whole franchise is ruined, and a lot of other franchises like She-Hulk and the Willow series, I think in the Ring of Power have kind of suffered because Disney wanted to create these quotes, or these quotas, I mean, to appease the woke mob. And for me, that this word and those people who fall into that category have ruined the entertainment business.
yeah, but I mean, there's just so much more to life than entertainment. Like, why are like the right extremists so focused on what's happening in Hollywood? Like, how does that affect our everyday life? It
Because
really,
now it because
it
now it's
doesn't.
well, it does, because those people are just regular people, and they've bled into our society. So now you have the pronouns going, you have the trans thing going, you have parents of kids, kids with woke parents are letting drag queens teach,
But this is
be in
such
their
a
classes and stuff like that.
small like percentage of what's actually going on in the world,
Yeah, for
like in
now.
the real world.
Yeah,
But
for
it's
now.
not, but I mean, that's the whole argument. Like, even before we get into all the details, like, I mean, the world, there's the conservatives who want to keep the America traditional. They want to keep America, everybody, nobody gets out of line, everybody assimilates, everybody thinks and does exactly the same as everyone else, and like life does not progress. And unfortunately, like as things are changing in our world, like there's a need for progression. Like things have to progress. We can't just stay the same. Like
So pronouns is
what's traditional American
progression.
value? Well, that's what it's under. That's what it's under. It's under like the far left agenda. But like,
Right.
why are we even? I
I mean,
mean,
yes, you're correct. Not right. You
that
said
that
left, and I said right. Go ahead.
like there is so many. Like I feel like America, like we're fighting over what the extreme right and the extreme left are fighting about. Like most of America is like in the center. They might lean one way or the other,
I
but
don't.
most people are centrist and aren't, you know, dealing with whatever you guys are talking about, like whatever people on the far right are talking about. Because I took my time to listen to a few
Mhm.
conservative podcasts today, and it's mind blowing. It's really mind blowing. And these are like the popular voices out here. And it's like you guys they're nitpicking over stuff that does not involve all of us.
I don't think it's nitpicking, but what's nitpicking? Like
Well,
what? Give me one.
I mean, whatever, I'll get into that, but America is central. Like America is not worried about like who do you know that where you have to on your job, do you have to declare your pronouns?
No, you don't have to. No.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not like far reaching just yet. And they're like making these like for some reason they're targeting sexuality, they're targeting,
Mm-hmm.
genders and
Mm-hmm.
trans and all that stuff. But that's not happening to most of Americans. And even like it's not affecting everyday Americans. And but it's being like highlighted like it is.
Well, it's more affecting what I've seen, especially on TikTok, the kids in elementary, high school, and then college. There's and I know colleges, you go through phases and stuff like that, so hopefully they'll get out of that, but um it seeps in to regular society, and when those kids come back home, it goes to their parents. I mean, these kids, if they stay, I don't know if the word is indoctrinated into this woke lifestyle and this is it libertism
Right. But
way of living without any rules or whatever. Like, we're not going to have any discipline, and we're just going to have people running wild
right.
child.
Right. That's what they're saying. That's what they're pushing, but there's not drag queens reading to children in every city in America.
Right.
Like
Hopefully, yeah. And that's what we're trying to stop. Yes, that's what we're
but
trying to stop.
but that's not happening. But it comes back to the parents. It should come
Right.
back to the parents. And like if you don't want your kid to go to a drag queen reading, then don't go.
But here's the thing, though. It's
Like if you go to see it,
it's where normal people can get canceled. Like, a lot of people don't want to say they're against certain things, and they're open to all these things, and
but but there's a
things
way to
that
communicate.
so they just concede. And
Right.
then
But
they're
there's
on camera saying, "Oh, look what I did. I let my child go to this or whatever." It's like, no, bro. Like,
right.
it's
But there's a
embarrassing. You
way,
look stupid. You look like
right.
you look like a horrible parent.
Okay, but there's a way that people on, who are getting canceled, there's a way that you have to communicate in a civil society. Yes, people want their free speech and to say whatever they want, but when that free speech is riddled with discrimination, bigotry, and hate, then there's a problem with that. There's a other side of the world that has a problem with that. Like there's a side of the world who isn't angry, who doesn't want to be radicalized, who doesn't want to like that's what I'm saying. Like most of America is not feeding into, all that rhetoric and craziness.
I mean, I can't say, I don't know the numbers. I wouldn't say most, but I would say a good chunk.
But
I can't but I can't say most.
What?
Because I don't talk to everybody. For me, like, I think most of the world lives on, right. I would say half. I was only half because I'll just marginalize. I'll just estimate. But because I'm thinking, to me, everybody's online, everybody's on YouTube. A lot of people, there's like over 20 million people on TikTok as far as America is concerned. I mean, those are the people I'm more concerned about, because those are the people who are like kind of gatekeeping, if you can say this or that, and getting and taking time and trolling and sitting there and hitting up all these companies every day just because they don't like what somebody of their employees said. I mean, there is evidence of normal people who spilled their guts or said something on TikTok or Facebook, and now like people are looking for we're looking for their job. Well, they found their jobs and were complaining about that person, and then they lost their job.
Well, how did they complain about that person? Did they say something hateful? Like you have to be civil. Like you can't just be like, oh,
in their eyes, They said something they didn't like. So a bunch. It only takes like 10 people because companies are horrible at regulating these things, but it only takes like 10, 20 people to complain about one person to say, oh, he said something anti-Semitic or he said something racist, and they won't look into it. They'll just be like, man, like 20 people called in about George. Now we got to fire George, or these 20 people won't buy our product. It's like that, and that's cancel culture, and it's happening to regular people, and that's a problem.
I mean, regular people say hateful things. Regular people aren't civil. Regular
In a land
people,
of free speech
but
on their own account.
but free speech. Oh my Lord. Like, yeah, free speech. We had this conversation already. So I won't get too far into it. You guys have to listen to some of our other podcasts, but like people could say what they want, but there's consequences for what you say. And there's also laws of or restrictions on what free speech is. So if you're not doing that, then you're gonna get canceled or whatever you want to call it. Like people aren't gonna deal with you. Like there isn't pure freedom. Like I don't know why people don't understand that.
There's people who think like, okay, let's say they're pro-choice, right, or pro-life, and they're doing excessive things like taking people's signs or trying to you know yeah, I can't talk today, trying to talk shit about other people just because their views don't align, and this is on
Right.
both sides, and
Exactly.
and they're going
Exactly.
and they're going after them uh via social media, and some of them are going to the extremes where they're like, oh, I know where you live. I've been threatened before on Twitter, for saying things. I'm just like, which I really don't care because I know it's all empty, but
You
whatever.
never know.
Come see me. I got bullets. So, come see me. But
Right.
it's like when it gets that extreme, it's just ridiculous. I think we should be able to say what we want to say, and we can debate and have disagreements and arguments. Like I don't care if you're whether it's racist or your views on politics or laws or whatever. You have the right to your opinion. But
No,
at the
you
same
don't.
time, no, you do. But at the same time, it's like um they should see, people shouldn't be punished for their
Yes, you
view.
should.
No, you
That's
shouldn't.
why we have laws. That's why people
But
have
laws
to.
for what though? Laws because I mean, let's say I don't. I
So
mean,
you can say
let's
whatever
say
you want. You can say lies. You can say lies and lie to people about things that aren't true and cause insurrections. Like, come on, that's crazy. Rupert Murdoch of Fox News is being sued right now for billions of dollars for lying on Dominion, in regards to the Trump lie that he is, they cheated or whatever, like
mm-hmm.
he shouldn't be president. So those are lies, and it caused an insurrection on our government. Like there people can't just say whatever they
An
want in this
insurrection
climate.
where police were tour guiding some people.
Right. There were
Um,
insiders. There were insiders. I mean, they were sympathizers, Trump sympathizers.
so there
They
you.
were,
So that's a
all
good
the
example
people
of
there were military, police
yeah,
officers, senators, and
yep.
regular everyday people that
So
went
there's free
and
speech that went wrong.
right. And that's why people can't
But
just say
who
whatever they
said it?
want.
Like me, like us, like we could have an opinion, or we could even like threaten, or we can talk shit about a Rupert Murdoch or the president of the United States, right? We should be able to do that. But yes, there are consequences. Just like if you listen to lies or you don't do research on a statement like bleach can cure COVID,
Defamation.
then and if you take bleach and you because you just heard the president at the time say that, then and
Right.
you drink it, that's on you, dummy.
Right. But that's why a lot of these people, whatever side you're on, that have influence are like influencing people to do some crazy stuff out here.
Yeah, so take accountability for your own actions and who you listen to.
Okay, but yes, that's fine, but that's
Yeah,
not what's happening.
That is what's happening. You just told me somebody's
People
going
are
to
mentally
get
ill,
in the
and
court.
people are mentally ill, and people are going out here taking up their arms with their Second Amendment rights, and they're
Which is great.
going. I mean, it's great, I guess, but there's people and children dying. If children are the issue that we're trying to protect and save, then maybe we should put in some like common sense laws to stop gun violence in all forms of whatever. Like the Second
Like what?
Amendment, like the Constitution, it definitely needs to be revised because people aren't healthy. People aren't healthy. People have issues, people have anger, people have no self-control. So revise the Constitution immediately.
I mean, isn't there
Like,
somewhere in the Constitution where it says we have the power to overthrow the government or something? I'm gonna have to read that over.
um,
It's like if it says something like if you don't agree with the government, you have the power to overthrow. The citizens have the power to overthrow or overturn.
well, that's the whole thing about militias and coups, but you can't overthrow a government when it's based on a lie. Like, what was the purpose of trying to overthrow our government? Because Donald Trump lied to you guys and you don't believe that Joe Biden's a legitimate president?
Yeah,
Like,
that was
like
wild.
that's a that's a lie. Like, and people are out here believing it and still believe it. So people aren't sane and people don't need guns. Like
Well,
off
not
top.
everybody has a college education, no, and not everybody's going to do research. I mean, we all
And
should
that's the
be aware of
problem.
that.
And that's the problem. People don't research. People just go off of the headlines. They listen to their favorite podcast and they like regurgitate everything they say
But
verbatim.
those are the easiest people to sway because it's like you can give them new information and make something make sense. It's like a salesman trying to sell you a vacuum cleaner when you already have a vacuum cleaner.
It is happening because I listened to a few conservative podcasts today. I'd rather not say their names, but they are definitely radicalizing people. They like there's no like a lot of the stuff that they say has bits of truth in it. It's very hypocritical. It's delusional. It's not facts. Like it's just a little bit, it's like opinion, but it's just a lot of anger. And they try to come off of the and then they throw like some Christian like scripture in there to like back it or something. But
I think the
it's
left side does the same thing. It's like they'll be pro-choice or pro-life, and they'll throw Jesus in there, and they'll get angry. I think the both sides, left and right, the extremists are totally like super duper radical, and yeah, sometimes they lie to embellish. They get angry. It's like going to a sermon when the preacher gets all excited, and you're like you get into it because he gets excited. He gets you excited. You know what I'm saying? It's like watching Braveheart. You get, you're ready for
right.
battle
So
when
yeah, so
Wallace goes on the horse and he's like, where, everybody's,
right,
it's the same form
right.
of
Everyone's being
speech.
right. Everybody's being brainwashed. Everybody's getting they're imposing on everyone's will. Everybody's freedom looks different. Like, a lot of the wokeism people are saying that the woke mob is imposing their lifestyle on us and blah 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 blah. But there you got like conservatives are trying to impose their traditional values on people as well. So it's like you can't really like that argument isn't valid at all. It's not valid. Like what? Like
I think it is.
how?
What are you saying that what do you mean their values aren't valid? The
I mean,
conservatives?
there's progressive
Yeah.
ideology, there's
Yeah.
conservative ideology.
What's
Half
progressive?
of half of is the left. Progressive is considered anything that's not conservative, Americana,
Yeah.
traditional values. I guess that's how they describe
Yeah.
it. So, I mean, what? What is American like? I heard growing up, America was supposed to be a melting pot, and we're all
Land of
supposed to
opportunity.
and all that or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But what's traditional American values? What is that? What does that look
I
like?
guess it looks like white picket fence, nuclear families, two
That's
kids,
but that's like
dog, cat.
that's the
You know what I'm
American
saying?
dream.
The wife goes, wife's the housewife, the guy works, or but nowadays is, in modern families, I guess, two parent income
Right.
households and stuff
You
like
guys have
that.
to
So
progress. Like that's not doesn't work in this
people are
economy.
progressing. What are you talking about?
It doesn't work in this economy. Like women can't just stay at home and have 18 kids, like can't afford it.
I think they're aware of that. I think now they're aware. I
No,
mean,
they're not.
there's well, they are. There's a lot of
They're not.
conservatives, especially women who are working and who don't mind working, and I mean, they're on TV all the time. Look at Tommy Lauren. I mean, she's working. Candace Owens, she's they're both these women are conservative and they're working, you know. So I think a lot of women now are stepping up and they know like they're going to need a two you know home income to make it, because I mean,
Okay, well then that's
not
progressive.
that's something that's out of their power, is uh they have to make a living. So you have to adapt to, you have to assimilate to your surroundings.
Right.
But
So I mean,
there is some households like a guy will work construction or do whatever, and then the woman stays home and takes care of the kid or whatever if they do have a kid, but at the same time she might do some entrepreneur shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like what's her name, Tabitha Brown. You know what I mean? Like her husband was a cop, so he made most of the bread, and which allowed her to take care of the kids and create and not created her own business. And then after her business, well, not after, like now when her business is booming, she was able to retire her husband. And then I'm not saying she's conservative. She's not. I don't know what she is, but she did it. So I think in that aspect, I don't know. To me, that's modern traditional, right? It's adapting to your changed environment. But that's
that would be
progressive.
progressive. Yeah, that would be progressive. Progressive is anything that is like progressing, life is progressing forward from, to me personally, traditional, if we're going to go off of the foundation of what America was and what MAGA stands for, making America great again, like it was great at some point, but they want to go. I mean, I think when the American dream was attainable, like if that's what they're talking about, I could get behind that, but it's not attainable in this economy because the cost of living is crazy. But also, America was founded on slave labor. So, I mean, is that what they're referring to as traditional American life? And anything that deviates from that is just too progressive, is too woke. Like that's pretty much what they're saying.
I haven't heard that. Mhm.
Well, a lot of people don't say things, and like this one guy today, he was trying to say that racism is like the blanket term that the left throws around, and they're trying to combat racism, and now they're trying to like flip it and say that we should look at, forget skin color, like we should look at the character of people and their merit. This is traditional podcast, what they're trying to say. And that kind of goes in line with, it's just like what you say all the time, how we should look at people's character and
Mhm.
not at racism, and like color doesn't matter. But color does matter. Like I don't care, you can't just erase the past.
Does it matter if your color, if I when I hire people, if I hire people, should I look at your color? Should I look at your color if I want
You
to have a
shouldn't,
conversation or I
you
talk to you,
shouldn't,
or
but people
does it
do.
change the way I look at you?
It shouldn't, but it
Yeah, it shouldn't.
does. It does
So
though.
if we all had the mentality of it shouldn't, wouldn't we make a better civilization?
Right. It would be great if color wasn't a
So why
factor, but
don't you see it that way than saying, oh, but we should see color? Why should we see color?
well, you shouldn't, but you guys, I mean, a lot of conservatives do see color. And that's why they don't want to live in neighborhoods with minorities. They don't want to worship with minorities. Like everything in our society is segregated. Like that's not,
But do you believe those people can change though if they meet like one person? Because to me, Like when I see people go to those southern places and interview these mostly white people, they don't know, they haven't met a black person, they haven't met a Mexican person, so they have a certain view of them because that's all they see is this certain kind of black or brown person or yellow person on. Do we still call Asian people yellow? And red person on TV because they're not around them. They're not, they're not in their area. So, but once we, get to like know each other, and have a conversation. I mean, I talked to one of my friends where he lived in Texas, and he's into rock and roll, punk rock and stuff, and it's mainly like a bunch of white people who listen to that. But once in a while, you see brown and black sprinkled in there, and everybody's getting along because our common denominator, or the common denominator, is rock and roll. And it'll take me or my friend who is brown, to break that stereotype, because he acts nothing like a Mexican and I act nothing, not anymore, at least, to an urban black dude on Snowfall. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm proud to break that stereotype when I meet anybody. You know what I mean? So we should more focus on that. There's a guy, I forgot his name, he's a jazz artist. I probably brought him up before, who was turning KKK members non-racist, or pulling them out of the organization just on a conversation of music. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. And it's also a funny thing. Like a lot of white people, especially in the South, will be racist, but they'll love jazz music and they'll love like hip hop and soul and watch sports and stuff. Their favorite player is Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? Like, to me, it's all about education, and I am taking it upon myself to educate people, if not with this podcast, with my own ways of living around people who might be ignorant and might stereotype me. My landlord stereotyped me before during the interview, and they told me that 6 months after, and they were like happy they didn't see me as a problem.
Right, but most people, that's what they do initially. Like that, I mean, you can't say that there's no race, or race isn't a factor. And a lot of conservatives, they try to act like now, like taking the high road, like, oh, we're gonna take the high road. I don't believe in seeing color. Just judge me on my character.
Yeah, does that
judge
sound
me on
great?
my merit. No, it sounds good, but it's kind of a gaslighting. It's kind of narcissistic.
See, but why do you see it that way? That's negative to me.
I see it that way because not everybody is on board with that. And
why
they actually living that, or are they just
can't we give them
that?
the benefit of the doubt until they prove you wrong? You're already being biased to the fact that just because they're conservative and they say this, don't believe them. You just said that. You're not giving them a chance. You're not. You're giving them the I don't know face. That you just did that.
Right, because of who they are, and all their other rhetoric is very racist, is very white supremacist, and they're telling you, oh, don't say that. You can't say racism. Can't if you don't agree with us, then now we're white supremacists, and it's just trying to change the perception of what they've been for all these years. Like,
but why are you putting that person or those people with them? Who are them? Who are those pronouns?
I'd rather not say who they are because I don't want people to get caught up in that web of lies. But yeah,
it's just funny how like people like
people
and I get it. People
want to erase stuff though. You can't just erase.
Who's erasing? Did they say anything about erasing?
I mean, that's what they're trying to do. Like, oh, we don't see.
How come it's erasing and not just making it better?
But are they
like we don't know yet, Stacy. You're judging them already. How can anybody grow if people like you are judging them all the time and won't let them grow?
because they don't want to grow based on their policies, based on their actions, based on their behavior, based on their lifestyle. People say a lot of things, but they don't act it out, they don't live it out. And they do a lot of dog whistles and say just a bunch of like lies. Like just they just a lot of people talk the talk but do not walk the walk. Like they don't just have that saying for no
A
reason.
lot of people say that. Yes, a lot of people do that. Yes, 100%. But we
So,
have to. But we
but
have to.
until they show versus just boop,
Yeah.
boop, boop,
You ever see
then I
talking?
can't
You ever
believe
heard
it.
of talking things into reality?
Yeah, but
Fake it till you make it kind of thing. Like
it's been decades
how
and
many
there's
of
no
us were like,
change.
oh, I want let's do like why are these the gatekeepers
They know what they're
of
doing. They're
generations?
swaying. They're like you guys always say, "Oh, you guys are sheep. You guys are being brainwashed." Well, they're actually brainwashing you guys to believe you can't see color.
Is it
Color doesn't
brainwashing or
matter.
just a hope?
Okay, well then that could be applied in the same way.
Yeah, how come we just can't
Like,
be optimistic and take them for the word? And if they fuck up, they messed up.
but they do
Okay,
because
well, but you're
like
already
these
judging them
people,
now.
these conservatives have been around for decades, like and haven't changed.
So
And
those specific ones you're talking about that you watch, those you've seen them for decades, and they've been the same way for decades.
they're extremely popular. So
Okay,
they're radicalizing a lot of young men, black men, Hispanic men, people of color. And I hope our society can uh get to a place where you're not judged off of your image, your lifestyle and all that, but they don't that's conservative. They don't want to be progressive. Like that would be too progressive.
I like to give people the benefit of doubt, and then I think but I do think actions speak louder than words, so I agree with that. Um, my thing is just if somebody's contradictive. I mean, I like Matt Walsh, but I think he's too angry. I like
Right,
louder. I
all of
like
them.
louder with Crowder, and he's a comedian. I think I like his rhetoric, so I'll stick to that. My guy, he's my guy. That's my guy right there. Um, I like Candace Owens more because she's stopped supporting Trump, and well, I don't know if she stopped, but I know she had some back and forth with him, and she's just like smart as fuck. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, I take everybody's information. I listen to everybody. I'm a fan of AOC. I like her Green Deal plan or whatever the fuck it's called. I don't think it's going to work, or I don't think it's going to get implemented because of people, are just being ignorant. But I think we need we need a middle ground, and we just will never meet it.
Right, because the loudest people in the room are the far right and the far left. Like that's what I'm trying to like
and I kind of
articulate.
think CNN and 40 are kind of like almost those gaslighting situations, because that's what makes money, right? Like we need to keep everybody separate so we can keep being angry, causing creating news and negativity, because that sells more. Nobody wants to do kumbaya shit. That doesn't sell. We need animosity so we can get the reporters there and the clicks and the ad revenue and the views, so people can just be on the edge of their seats to see what's happening next, stuff like that. So I mean, that's why when we talked last time about Jonathan Majors, everybody got on that quick, because it's like click. It's like it's clickbait, affecting
Right.
this real person's life, but they don't care because they just care about the clickbait, and that's all to all the podcasts, even ours, I guess, and then all the entertainment news outlets and stuff like that. It's bananas.
Yeah. I mean, but I see our podcast as trying to bring both sides into it. Like, I mean, no, we've been doing this for a year now and nobody watches our our podcast. I mean, hopefully eventually maybe when we pass away or in the near future, more people would enjoy our train of thought and how
Damn,
to
pass
look
away.
or I don't know. I've been going at a lot of stuff for a long time, trying to put a even keeled, balanced voice
It's like
into the
Picasso
world.
won't make any money till he pass away, and his paintings go for millions.
Hey, that's, when rappers die, that's what happens. They get their flowers when they pass. But like it's just too much. Like the left, the right, it's not the voice of middle America. And they're getting all the attention and they're radicalizing people. And yeah, the woke mob, as DeSantis and all these conservatives are using it to target, the left or whatever. It's just it's too much. Like the left, it is too much. The left extreme is too much. Like their policies and what they're doing, it's a lot. And the far right, the alt right, the extreme right is too much. But there's like a whole spectrum of opinions, thoughts, and ideas in between. And but the ends are just the loudest, and it's what's getting people paid, it's what's getting people clicks. It's the wrong, it's actually putting the wrong like message and light in the world. I understand, like, yes, children should not have to decide on their sexuality before they're fully developed. Like, I think most people would understand that. And I mean, some parents out there are allowing their kids to do these things.
But you
But
got
I
those woke parents.
right, but that's still a small fraction, and they're getting you guys hyped up over a small fraction of society. Like, what?
I mean, it's a
Like,
small fraction of people who get abortions, but people are crazy about
right.
abortions.
Exactly. Like nobody's celebrating like this guy today was saying, oh, there's people on the left that are celebrating or having an appreciation of abortion day or, whatever. But
Yeah,
there's
it's crazy.
people out here who are radicalized and they're pushing their agendas, but most of Americans don't want to have to deal with any of this. Not, I mean, hello, most people aren't getting abortions. Most people aren't getting abortions, yet that's what we're watching TV, seeing these people out there protesting that are very passionate about these things, and it's not
Because
affecting.
those people are affected by abortions, maybe, and then you got the other people who just want to be woke and see it as, oh, that's a life, and then somebody else says, well, what about if we forget art or essay or whatever, or what if you're in a domestic relationship, blah 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 blah, like how rare are those situations? It seems
Right.
like it's not, because there's a lot of people who are just out there,
It's just
rallying.
social media. It's too much information, and it's just like hyping things up, and it's really not that. And people are out here going in the real world thinking it is that, and it's not. It's just the people that are the loudest are getting most attention. And there was this is what wokeism is defined by a conservative that I thought was very interesting. They were saying that excuse me, woke people are usually uh the leftist whiteys who think they're better than everyone else. So that just kind of tells me like this ain't even our fight. Like these are, I mean, our country is so divided, and I feel like white folks are just going at it like for power, or the traditional and progressive lifestyle or conservative and liberal lifestyle. Like some people are super passionate about that. I'm not one of those people. And I feel like a lot of Americans aren't those people. Like, why are we defined by our political affiliations? Like, that's just crazy to me. Like, there's so much more to people than their political affiliations, and people are out here fighting for it. Like, what?
But
Like,
even
how
if
is
you are separate, how come we just can't talk, in a civil manner about our
because
different
people are mentally
ideologies?
ill and people are have no self-control and are angry and evil. But
Mm-hmm.
anyways, I'll move forward. Um, woke isn't just to be aware, but to have people bow down to societal hierarchies and issues. And that to me
I
sounds
agree with
like
that business wise. Yeah.
um a lot of that is it brings up the issues of how a lot of white men think they're being replaced and and they don't have rights anymore. Like that's kind of a dog whistle towards that.
Well, they have rights, but they should be replaced because they are out of touch. Keep going.
But I mean, so but that's
They
like
own things. It's like Hollywood right now, and the Oscars and the awards and companies and stuff like that, and like they're trying to appease everybody, and you can't appease everybody. And then the technology and stuff, like we have to get with the times.
yeah. And then
I'm
and
about to
like
get on Unreal Engine tonight. Keep going.
yeah, but that and then that's when the alt right when they went marching with the tiki torches through that college campus in Virginia,
Right.
and they were like, the Jews will not replace us. So
Yeah.
like, there's extreme people out
That's
here,
extreme. Those people are
yeah,
dummies.
who are really feeling like they're gonna be replaced. So that's a target. And then this guy, the conservative, this is where he quoted Martin Luther King, and he was like, how are you going to, judge me over the color of my skin and not the content of my character? And then
Very good.
that was the whole thing of them trying to push anti-racism or,
I don't like that word. That's stupid.
but that's what they're pushing, like,
Is
and
that what they call it? They call it
that's their
anti-racism?
that's their counter. That's their counter to being called racist. Because I guess the left was doing like just saying, when white people don't do, or, Republicans don't do something that is in line with their ideology, they just say, oh, that's racist. That's racist. And
Mm.
so just how now they're characterizing everything that let people on the left don't agree with the far right. They're calling it's woke, it's wokeism. So
Mm.
it's a game. Like this political stuff is such a game, and I need people to understand that like we're in the middle of these extreme people's game. And okay, I'll keep going. Um, let's see. So that's compassion. So wokeism is the real force of the real face of political correctness. If you aren't woke, you are politically incorrect. This is against the state and its allies, media, tech, academia, public-private parties or partners that make up corporatism, where they try to silence, isolate, and destroy the Conservative Party. So then they're saying the other thing, it gives social justice warriors and community organizers power over the many or over
Facts.
the majority. So this is what they're saying is
I
woke.
believe that. Yep.
And then let's see. Also another thing they were like saying that it's saying, hey, you old people, you traditional people, you don't get it. And this is they saying that you aren't allowed to be a free thinker. You can't have intellectual growth or curiosity. But free thinking, y'all ain't free thinking. They're not free thinking. They're all saying the same rhetoric, every single one of them, that I've heard of the popular mainstream conservative groups or whatever. Within blah blah blah. I'm almost done, you guys. But I just thought these were really interesting because I was having a hard time understanding how did woke go from awareness to like an actual like political movement, which is crazy to me. Um, they were saying that woke people, it's very extreme. They celebrate abortions. They have an abortion provider appreciation day. Um, people in darkness, born in peace, worship the earth. This is wokeism and and so they're just saying wokeism is on a path to insanity. It's a dangerous ideology. Then he went on to say like morons are running our country, and he said that Donald Trump has a great business acumen, and you may not like him, but he was a successful television guy. This is what this man has said, and he's, mind you, he is very popular, very conservative, very known. My mind is blown. First of all, Donald Trump is not a good businessman. Like, how could you even say that? Like, he's being indicted as we speak for poor business practices. His school, Trump University, was dismantled. He's gone bankrupt so many times. Like, it's ridiculous. And then they said that, that we don't have competent leadership. Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, he mentioned them specifically. And I mean, Kamala is very competent. How do you measure competency? She's very competent. Like, if you want to look at her educational background, what she's done for California as a district attorney. Pete Buttigieg is actually one of the most brilliant men that I've heard in politics recently, but he went after them because she's a black. This is what I believe. This is my opinion, because she was a black woman, and Pete Buttigieg, is a gay man, so they're incompetent, progressive, incompetent. And then he said Biden was legally incompetent. So that was kind of like a dog whistle saying that he shouldn't even be president. So yeah. Oh, and this was another interesting point. He was saying that in the real world, for freedom to exist, it has to exist on merit, not color of the skin, not who you were born as. And I just, that, I mean, that could have been great. That, to me, I could stand behind that if it was true. But I feel like it's not true until actions, an apology, reparations, all of that. I think that would be great.
So he picked on Kamala and Buttigieg, but why did he pick on Biden? He's white.
Right, but he's also
You'll say because he's white, or just because
he's a liberal, he's progressive.
He's a liberal.
Yeah, he's the leader of the Democrats.
So they'll never be able to please you. There's always be something.
What do you mean?
Right? There'll always be either racist or sexist.
As long as they're not. Like, if your actions and your policies.
You said your opinion. You thought they called them incompetent because she's black, right, and he's gay.
Yeah. Why? Because how else? They are not incompetent, like, by any standard of the word, other than what I could see. So you agree with she's a woman, and she's a black woman, and that Pete Buttigieg is a gay man. So that's why conservatives do not like that progressiveness in American government. Period.
But what has she done?
What has Trump done?
Vice president.
But what has Trump done?
Bad and good.
He's done more. He's indicted. He got indicted today. So it's like.
Right. She was excited when she told me that, guys, by the way. I'm just kidding.
I wasn't excited. I was just like, it's happening. Like, this
excitement for the indictment.
He's done so many corrupt things, and it's time for him to go down. Like,
yeah,
I was raised being a good human being and following the rules, and if you do bad, you go to jail. But he never lived by those rules after even colluding with Russia. Like, there's evidence for all of this, but he just, I don't know.
I think people just liked his honesty, but he did go too far.
They like that black people liked him because he gave them money, gave them free money. And
Biden gave everybody free money. Trump let out more people, though, out of jail for doing nothing, really, for small crimes.
But how is that good? That doesn't do anything for majority of Americans, but people.
It's a start, though, dude.
No, I'm sorry.
It's not? Okay, so anything little is not a start.
It's
so
bare minimum.
It's bare minimum. Anything Biden does,
bare
if
minimum.
It's small, like, it's all bare minimum.
I didn't say
it's not progressive. It could have been going into something else.
But it didn't, and it's not going to.
But it could have.
But it didn't.
But is
And
it not
his
a
term is
but
over.
wait,
His
but is
term
it
is
not I
over.
know, but is it not a good thing that he did let those people go because of petty crime or weed? Isn't that a good thing though?
Yeah, but he did it for clout. He did it for votes. A lot of these political people do things for votes. And
So did Obama do it? So did Biden do that with the gun law, or talking about the gun laws now, or giving us money during the pandemic? Was that just for votes?
mhm.
Okay, I just want you to be
But
fair.
he
Okay.
also but he also had to do it for our economy. Like our economy, like they haven't declared it as a recession, and people have been talking about going into a recession for the last year, but it has not happened because we actually have a smart administration, a competent administration in place to keep us afloat. And all these people are saying, "Oh, the banking systems are failing." Yeah, because the a lot of the people on the right are fear mongering, and the reason these banks failed is because, for one, they didn't have regulations because Trump took regulations out, and they were pumping fear, and it made people run to the bank. It's called a bank run. People go and get their money out of the bank because they think the bank is not going to have their money.
But that was only also two or three banks that are going through that. Like my bank's not going through that.
Right. And so if those banks wouldn't have gone through
And
that
those banks were
either,
messing with like high roller, like
no,
tech
no, it was tech.
companies and
Yeah, it was tech
political
companies.
companies. Yeah,
Right.
and they
Mm,
finessed all these other people to invest in their shit, and it sounded like a Ponzi scheme to me, which it kind of was, because it's like would pay Peter to pay Paul
right.
or whatever.
But they
Yeah,
wouldn't have completely failed if people didn't run to the bank to get their money out. But they also put in their financial statement that they didn't have enough cash to pay.
yeah.
Like, but it was a
That's what I'm
problem.
saying. It sounded like a Ponzi
But they,
scheme.
but Trump, when he was in office, he reversed the bank regulation laws that they had put in 2008 when we had that big financial crisis when all the banks got bailed out. So therefore, those regulations weren't in place, so these people were able to do like trickery, and that's why the FDIC stepped in when they did to like try to help people. Because if that bank, the Silicon Valley Bank, had all like the tech startups money. If they would have failed, all these like new startups would have lost so much money. We would have lost so much innovation as America. You know what I'm saying? Like it would, like they had to bail out the depositors, and like the conservatives are saying, "Oh, those banks are getting bailed out." Blah blah blah. Bruh, they bailed out the people who put their money in the bank. And if those companies would have failed, oh, everybody's so scared of what China and everybody's gonna do, we would have got surpassed in a real way. So our government had to step in. We had to. So we if they didn't, and then the guy today was like, how are they gonna what are they gonna what's gonna happen to their money? Why would they give them millions of dollars? They need like if that was you would love for the government to give you your money back over the uninsured amount. Because if that $250,000 was the insured amount, so they would have got that money back regardless. But a lot of people had more than that. So by the government stepping in, people were able to get their millions, not just $250,000. And if that was anybody else, they would have wanted their money back too. They would have wanted the government to bail them out too. So forget all whatever they're trying to say now, like they're all perfect and oh, I would socialism, communism. Man, you would have wanted your money too if you were in that bank. So there is a bunch of garbage going on with that too. I heard today. That's a whole nother story. We could talk about that on another episode, but it got me riled up as well. So yeah, so that's what wokeism means to the conservative party, and it's being weaponized, it's being changed. I mean, like many words, a lot of words have evolved, a lot of words have been stolen for their original meaning and just changed for whatever reason. Just I don't know. But the last little thing I did want to share that I came across, like the word woke in its original sense has been around for, I mean, since It was 1938 was the first use of the word woke. There were these boys, a guy made a song named Lead Belly, and the song was called Scottsboro Boys. And it was about these supposedly 9 teenagers raped 2 white women, but that's not what happened in Scottsboro, Arizona. And in the song, they were talking about stay woke. And then it was also brought up again in like 1962. It was like, if you're woke, you dig it. And then Georgia Ann Muldrow in 2005, she wrote a song with DiBiase, Raz G, Sarah, and the song was produced by Omas Keith, and the artist was Erykah Badu. The song was called Master Teacher. That's when they were talking about stay woke, and they were saying it. And Erykah Badu made it popular. Like, she brought it to the mainstream. And that's the woke that I identify with. This new woke, like, that's not a part of I can't get behind it. But now that it's such a changed word, kind of like the N word, like, people don't even want to use it no more. Like, it's over with. You know what I mean? Like, y'all can have it. Keep it. Take it. Do what you want. Woke mob, wokeism, whatever. But it's just things get appropriated and changed, but we really just need to do our research and find out where do things start from so you can get the whole picture. Like, we got to stop missing, but it's almost impossible. Like, the world is too big. There's too many extremes. There's too many people along the spectrum, and we can't get the whole story. I guess it's almost impossible to get all the pieces to the puzzle, but you got to just try. You got to try. Otherwise, you're going to be misinformed. You're going to get brainwashed. You're going to be a sheep. All the things they say about the left. So that's my spiel.
Good spiel.
It was very interesting. Like, I learned a lot today because I've been confused. Like, literally, I've been confused the last couple years. Like, what is happening? Like, why are the Republicans saying woke? Like, why are they using it as a derogatory term? But it's just something different now, y'all. So stay woke.
Don't stay woke.
Yes, I believe in awareness. I believe
Don't
in
be
knowing
woke.
knowledge. Don't be what? Don't be woke. Don't
Go
be
woke, go
woke.
broke.
Don't be woke. The woke after 2013. Because I guess in 2014, sorry, that's where I left off. 2014, when the Mike Brown protests were happening in Ferguson, St. Louis, or Missouri, Ferguson, Missouri, that the protests started using, Black Lives Matter was forming and started using stay woke and all that stuff. So things be getting hijacked all the time. But anyways, all right. Anything you want to say?
Stay alert out there and do your research.
Yeah, it's a lot. I don't know. Be kind, relax. Everybody chill out and see. Like, the guy had a good point too today. It's like, is your life getting better or worse from particular movements? And a lot of these movements that are in the mainstream don't affect me in any way, or my family, or your family. So don't drink the Kool-Aid, don't go for the okey doke, don't get bamboozled. I'm gonna get in trouble after this, you guys.